Sometimes the most painful goodbyes are the ones we never see coming. This episode of The Summer I Turned Pretty isn't just a finale. It's a storm of heartbreak, truth, and impossible love. By the end, every character is broken in their own way, and the question that lingers is simple yet devastating. Can love survive when honesty destroys it? Let's dive deep into the ending of Season 3, Episode 8, where love, loyalty, and betrayal collide one final time. The calm before the chaos last week. Belly and Jeremiah celebrated their upcoming wedding with bachelor and bachelorette parties. Their love seemed unshakable, at least from the outside. But behind that perfect image, everything was crumbling. Jeremiah drank too much, collapsing at home before he could meet Belly on the beach. That missed moment changed everything. While Jeremiah was passed out, Conrad met Belly instead. What began as an awkward confrontation turned into something raw, a confession that shook the ground beneath them both. Conrad told Belly the truth about Jeremiah's infidelity, but Belly, desperate to protect what she had built, refused to believe him. Instead, she clung tighter to the idea of marrying Jeremiah, even as her heart began to betray her. That night, Conrad poured his soul out. He begged her not to marry his brother, not to walk away from what they once had. But Belly, wounded and torn, told him something that would break them both, that he would never measure up to Jeremiah's love. And just like that, everything shattered. A morning after that feels like forever. Episode 8 opens quietly, with Belly lying in bed. The sound of Jeremiah's voice message fills the room. He's apologizing for missing their beach rendezvous. His words are tender, but there's a distance in them. Belly listens, her face still heavy from the night before. She leaves him a short note, promising she loves him and can't wait for the rehearsal dinner. But behind her words, there's a storm brewing. As she goes downstairs to make coffee, she doesn't expect to see Conrad. But there he is, standing in her kitchen, the ghost of last night written all over his face. He tries to laugh it off, pretending the alcohol was to blame for his confession. He says, "Forget what I said," but Belly isn't having it. She tells him he hasn't changed, that she can't trust him, and that she doesn't want him at the wedding. Her words cut deeper than she realizes. Conrad refuses to leave quietly. His frustration boils over. He demands to know what she really wants from him. "I told you everything," he says, "and you wouldn't even let me keep a piece of my dignity." Belly fires back, her anger masking heartbreak. He accuses her of being heartless, and she agrees, even though they both know it's a lie. Before walking out, Conrad whispers what might be the truest thing he's ever said, that he'll love her forever. Belly claims she feels nothing, but when he finally leaves, her hands tremble. The truth? Walking away from Conrad might be the hardest thing she'll ever do. Taylor steps in just as Conrad drives off. Taylor, ever the fiercely loyal best friend, returns from her morning run. She sees Belly's shaken expression and immediately senses what's wrong. When she finds Conrad outside, she confronts him without hesitation. He tries to brush her off, saying it's none of her business, but Taylor refuses to back down. Conrad finally admits it. He still loves Belly. He's never stopped. He says she's just pretending not to care, but Taylor cuts through the fantasy. "Then let her go," she tells him firmly. "If you can't give her what she needs, let her be happy." It's one of those rare moments where truth feels heavier than anger. And for Conrad, it stings more than any fight. The rehearsal dinner, a love triangle on fire. As the day moves forward, the wedding feels closer, but everything else feels wrong. Taylor urges Belly to open up about what really happened with Conrad, but Belly avoids the subject. When she finally admits that Conrad confessed his love again, Taylor's eyes widen. "You have to be honest," she says, but Belly insists she just wants the wedding to happen and be done. Still, her body betrays her. Every time Conrad's name is mentioned, she tenses. Every time she smiles at Jeremiah, her eyes look elsewhere. When Conrad shows up at the rehearsal dinner, it's the last thing Belly expects. The air thickens instantly. He pulls Jeremiah aside, wanting to talk, but before he can, the dinner begins. Belly watches Conrad the whole time, terrified of what he might say or do. It's the kind of fear that comes from knowing the truth is only one sentence away from blowing everything up. After dinner, Jeremiah stands and makes a toast to Conrad. He calls his brother loyal and strong, completely unaware that the man he's praising is the one still in love with his fiancée. It's painful, poetic irony. Later that night, Jeremiah shares his big news. He's joined his dad's new business venture without telling Belly. He'll be splitting time between Boston and their future home. Belly tries to smile, but disappointment flickers in her eyes. She tells him that decisions like this need to be made together. Still, she chooses to let it go, because that's what love is supposed to look like, right? When Jeremiah invites Conrad for ice cream afterward, Conrad refuses. The tension between them lingers, thick and suffocating. Jeremiah hides his hurt behind a forced grin, saying, "I'll see you at the wedding." It sounds more like a warning than a promise. The breaking point later that night, Conrad sits by the pool trying to hold himself together. Laurel joins him quietly. She's known this kind of pain before, the kind that doesn't go away. Conrad tries to say he's fine, but his voice cracks. He admits that he's hurting, but still insists he'll stand by his brother no matter what. Laurel gently tells him she understands. Her eyes say what words can't. Sometimes loving someone means letting them go. Across town, Belly can't sleep. The weight of her secret, that Conrad still loves her and that a part of her still loves him too, presses down on her chest. Finally, she can't take it anymore. She walks quietly to Jeremiah's room and tells him the truth. She explains that Conrad confessed his love to her at the beach. Jeremiah's face hardens immediately. He wants to fight Conrad, but somehow he stops himself. His voice shakes when he asks, "Do you still love him?" Belly insists she's telling him only so there are no secrets between them. But she doesn't answer the question, and that silence says everything. A letter that changes everything. The next morning, Jeremiah is gone. No one knows where he went. Panic spreads through the house. Laurel finds Belly and hands her a letter, one that Susanna had written before she passed away. There's another letter too, left for Jeremiah, but it's with Conrad. When Conrad finally finds Jeremiah, things explode. Jeremiah punches him, accusing him of ruining everything. He tells him he had his chance years ago, and he'll never get another. Conrad tries to calm him down, handing him Susanna's letter. But as Jeremiah reads, his anger only grows. He looks up with tears in his eyes and says words that Conrad will never forget. "You're dead to me. You'll never see Belly again." But the truth cuts even deeper. The letter wasn't meant for Jeremiah at all. It was for Conrad. A mother's final message to the son who loved too deeply. Because even Susanna knew. Conrad's love for Belly was real. The collapse of a wedding at the country club, Belly waits, unsure if Jeremiah will show up. Her best friend tries to comfort her, reminding her that marrying Jeremiah might not be the happy ending she thinks it is. "You've always loved Conrad," she says softly. Belly denies it, but the denial cracks with every heartbeat. Moments later, Conrad walks in. His face says everything: regret, love, and exhaustion. He apologizes for hurting her, for making things harder than they had to be. Then he says goodbye. He tells her he's leaving, that he won't be around for a long time. Before he turns to go, he says something Belly will carry with her forever. "Loving you was worth every single moment of pain." Belly's eyes fill with tears. Before she can respond, Jeremiah arrives. He sees her staring at Conrad and already knows the answer to the question he's been avoiding all along. "Tell me," he says quietly. "Tell me you don't still love him. Belly can't lie anymore." "I do," she whispers. "I still love Conrad." Jeremiah's face hardens. He reminds her of everything they shared, every plan they made, every moment he was there for her when Conrad wasn't. But even as he speaks, he knows the truth. Love built on denial never lasts. He tells her he knew all along, that she and Conrad spent Christmas together, that her heart was never really his. Then, almost as if to free himself, he tells her what their mother once told Conrad. "She said you only ever truly fell for one person, and that person was Belly." With those words, Jeremiah ends it. The engagement is over. The wedding is off, and all that's left is silence. The airport goodbye belly packs her things. The house that once felt like home now feels like a place she has to escape. She buys a plane ticket to Paris, a new beginning, a clean slate, a chance to remember who she is without either of them. As she stands at the airport, her heart heavy but strangely calm, she looks across the gate, and there he is, Conrad. He's standing just a few feet away, eyes locked on hers. No words, no grand gestures, just two people who've been through everything and still can't seem to let go. The screen fades to black, and just like that, we're left with the question that has defined this entire series. Is love destiny, or is it just timing? Because in The Summer I Turned Pretty, maybe it's both.